This is Sessions, a show where we showcase the finest musicians in all of East Texas. I am Karis Phelps, and in today's show, we will be showcasing the musical story of Casey Muse Williams, as well as enjoy a special Sessions performance. You are not going to be disappointed. Welcome to Sessions. I am Karis Phelps, and with us this afternoon is musician and founder of Star Avenue Company, Casey Muse Williams. Casey, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Karis?
Great. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, it's cool to be here. Love being on campus for random things that I did not plan to be here for. It's an awesome thing.
So tell me, how did you get to SFA?
Well, actually, I'm not at SFA. I never went to school at SFA. I actually moved here to do a substance abuse job in Lufkin, Texas. And when I got to Lufkin, Texas, realized that I did not want to live in Lufkin, Texas. So I settled in Nac.
Okay, so where are you originally from?
Longview, Texas. I'm a East Texas baby, born and bred, but without an East Texas mentality.
Right. So that's awesome. Well, tell me, how did you start your own company?
Well, so, and I'm going to say this, it's actually a nonprofit.
Okay.
So, but I literally started it by having 2 hand drums, and I put them on my back, and they were little straps, and I walked around Nacogdoches, and then I started monthly bonfires at my house, called them Star Avenue Music Nights. The name transitioned because one day someone came to one of them and said, hey, you really should do these in the streets of Nac. And so from then, it dropped the nights because we stopped doing things only at night. And then we dropped the music because we added art and we added writing to things that we would do for the community. And then we did that in 2016, and then in late 2019, we established Nonprofitcy. So that's kind of how that happened. I mean, the story is so much bigger than that, but yeah.
That's great. How did you get started in music?
I pulled my mom's pots and pans out of her cabinet at the age of like 2.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing this for a while now, you could say.
Yeah, I'm a serial percussionist. I will beat and find sound in everything that does not make sense, and I'll make it make sense.
That's a talent. So did you do music in high school? Were you in the band?
I was a quote-unquote band nerd, but I mean, if band nerds will tell you there's a difference between a band nerd and a music nerd. I was a music nerd that was in band. When I was like 5 or 6, my mom and my dad would listen to things like OJ's and Frankie Beverly Mays and Sly and the Family Stone, and then I remember taking my hand and then literally just like rearranging or picking apart the song and say, okay, the bass line goes there and the drums go there, and if I take it and split it apart and then I add this chorus of this EPMD or this Kid Rock song and put it here, it might sound like this. So,
oh, wow.
Kind of how that worked.
So do you have any other, I guess you could say, instruments that you know?
Technically, I have a background in music production and DJing, so I spin records. I do cut chemists, like cutting on records and like transing and things like that. I used to DJ professionally when I lived in Dallas, and I started when I lived in Longview, then I moved to Dallas. And I play a little bit of keys just through learning how to do music production and sound engineering.
Right. Is there any certain, I guess you could say, artists that you love to mix in and combine songs with?
Oh, shoot. No, not really. I mean, I guess at that point in time, I love the art of going to record stores and digging and just looking for things that just were really interesting to me. I love like a lot of old, I mean, a lot of old R&B. I mean, once again, just like Frankie Beverly Mays, Earth, Wind and Fire, OJ's, just things like that.
Do you have any certain artists that you look up to that you want to be like maybe one day, or just an inspiration?
Inspiration. I don't want to be like anybody, but except myself. I mean, as far as hip hop goes, I look up to Tupac Shakur. I look up to Sheila E., who is a old funk drummer. The drummer from James Brown Band is ridiculously nice. So as far as musicians that I look up to, I actually look up to musicians that are local that I play with. I play with a jam band out in Tyler called Lodi's Jam Band. Lodi is the most phenomenal saxophone player you will ever hear in your life. His name is Ladarius Daniels, and then all the guys that I play with in that band are phenomenal.
It is so great getting to know you, and be sure to stick around because when we come back, we will be treated with an amazing, unique performance by Casey Muse right here on Sessions. Welcome back to Sessions. I'm Karis, and up next is a performance by Casey Muse Williams. Take a look. And that was a very unique performance by Casey Muse. So tell me, what is the history of the drum, or of the hong, I could say, or what do you call them?
This drum or those drums?
The ones you were playing.
So the ones that I was playing are called kungas or
Kungas.
congas. I just say kunga because it's more of an African pronunciation. They are West African, the majority of them. And the hong, which is this drum that I have right here, is Swiss.
Okay, so these are very old, you could say. They relate back to Africa. How did you get into them exactly?
That's a good question. I actually don't really know the answer to this. So I became a member of a Methodist church through a pastor and mentor of mine, and he shepherded over another church that did not have any music. And so we were kind of just very intuitive in the fact that we wanted music there. So instead of just bringing in a whole entire drum kit for services, I just added hand drums, or kungas specifically. I mean, there's a plethora of other different styles of hand drums I could have added or could have brought, but I just brought kungas mainly.
So what could you say is the main difference between kungas and, I guess you could say, drums that you see a band, like a jazz band, play?
Well, kungas are just, they're a single drum, and they usually get mistaken as being just a drum with one pitch. But as you saw in the video, I pull several pitches or several different sounds out of one drum. That's typically the main difference is a hand drum is just one drum. A drum set is at least about 5 to 6 other drums with cymbals and other auxiliary equipment added to it.
What special techniques do you have to play the kungas?
A lot of hand dampening. I use a lot of hand dampening, which allows me to pull the different pitches out of the head, which is just pressure point censoring, where you press down with your hand that you're not making contact with, and it just allows you to create different pitches or different sounds or different tones or different voices. So.
Would you say it's easier to play the kungas, or I guess you could say a other drum set?
I wouldn't say either one. And I would say that on face value, it looks easier to play a kunga or a hand drum because it's just one drum, but it's really not that easy either, is what I've learned. I mean, it was easy for me because I just transitioned and I'll play drums, and that's not a big deal. But what I've learned in doing hand drum sessions with people in the community and playing with other people and giving lessons is it's not that easy for everybody.
Right. Are there many others that play the kungas? Have you found groups that do this as well?
Well, no. I mean, I typically am the group that does that with other people. I mean, so my nonprofit owns 30 different hand drums. And so when you see a guy doing a drum circle in Nacogdoches, Texas, or because we do Livingston, we do Lufkin, we do Nac, we do Center, we do Gladewater, we do Shreveport, Louisiana, and we do the occasional mission trips to Haiti. Not since COVID started, but we have done mission trips to Haiti. So what a usual drum circle looks like for me is putting 30 hand drums in the back of a truck, pulling them out for people to come play, and then people are playing with me.
Right. All right. So don't go away. We'll be right back. More and another performance. Hi, and welcome back to Sessions. I'm here with Casey Muse, and up next, we have a very unique performance. was Casey Muse Williams with a unique selection, but more so a unique instrument. Casey, tell me about the Hong.
It's a drum. It's made of steel. I love playing it. It's fabulous.
And you mentioned it was from Swiss. Do you
Yeah.
know how old or how long it's been around?
Well, it is Swiss. It's from Switzerland. I forget how long it's been around. It may be the youngest instrument ever. So I randomly came across my identification of the Hong drum on YouTube maybe 4 years ago. And then I stalked it on YouTube for like a year and a half because I was just absolutely amazed by it. And then the day I ordered it, it was like having 20 Christmas presents on Christmas Day. Like, it was amazing. And so since I like practiced playing it before I even got it, I pulled it out the box and was playing it like a pro when I got it. But I mean, so the process of getting one is a really weird process because like the process of getting an actual Hong drum from the actual manufacturer that makes it is like applying to college.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous. This is not an original one from the manufacturer because also the one from the original manufacturer is a little bit out of range as far as how much it cost. But typically the process of getting one looks like this. It's like you literally fill out an application and then you address your intent on using it in your application. And then you get an okay letter or an acceptance letter, or you get no letter. And then after you get an acceptance letter, there comes your other paperwork of saying even further your intent of using it because it's a very limited instrument of the original ones. They only made a total of maybe, I think it was 2,000 of them, and then they stopped making them. So they don't even make them anymore. If you get an original one, then it's like having a block of gold or something. It's crazy. But yeah, so this is...
They are rare, you could say.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, I love playing it.
Would you mind showing us a few techniques on how you play it?
Sure.
Okay, so exactly how do you hold your hands and everything?
There's no particular way.
Okay.
There's really not. I mean, so I mainly play with my thumbs when I play it, but then I also play with other instruments or other portions of my hand, like other fingers and things like that as well. But your thumb produces the most volume of sound. So if you play in the very middle, this is kind of where your bass tone is, or your kick drumish type thing. So if you want to like kind of give presentation like you're playing it kind of drum kit or things like that, then all right. But it's just like inside ball of your thumb. And then every single note or every single indentation, it creates a different note. But octavely, it skips. So two main techniques that I use are triplet stacking, which is just playing in triplet formation, but then stacking it on top of each other and how it transitions or how I move around.
Learn a song, would you look at a normal sheet of paper, notes like that, and play?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's not
yeah.
just, you can still look
yeah,
at paper?
And you would just transpose it to the notes that are on the Hong. I don't have the whole entire scale because you have to get two other Hongs in order to have that in different keys, because this one is in the key of D, and so you would have to get like a C or an N
Okay,
and
so
an
there's
F.
different keys. Okay, that makes sense. That's very interesting. And so the ball of your thumb, does it hurt at all?
It does when you first start.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt now.
Because you're used to it now?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, this is very fascinating. I had no idea this was even an instrument, but I'm so excited that you came and showed us and told us a little more about it. Thank you for coming out today with us, Casey. Muse and for those great performances, and thank you for tuning into Sessions. I'm Karis Phelps, and I'll see you next time.